Hi, my name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. Today we're going to be Proverbs chapter 17, verse 3. The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and the Lord tests hearts. If you're going to purify silver or gold, there's only one way to do it. You've got to turn up the heat. Purification is a process that doesn't happen without heat. It doesn't just happen over the course of time. It doesn't happen at room temperature. It doesn't happen in the freezer. It happens in the fire. The gold must be put in the fire, and it's tested. In that test, that which is not gold becomes evident and is removed. And that process is what purifies gold. In a similar fashion, the Lord tests the hearts. 1 Chronicles 29:17, I know, my God, that you test the heart and have pleasure in uprightness. In the uprightness of my heart I have freely offered all these things, and now I have seen your people who are present here offering freely and joyously to you. Psalm 26:2, prove me, O Lord, and try me, test my heart and my mind. In Jeremiah 17:10, I, the Lord, search the heart and test the mind, to give every man according to his ways, according to the fruit of his deeds. How does the Lord test his people? By turning up the heat. 1 Peter 1 gives us that same illustration or analogy. And this you rejoice, O now for a little while, if necessary you have been grieved by various trials, so that the tested genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold that perishes though it is tested by fire, may be found to result in praise and glory and honor at the revelation of Jesus Christ. Elsewhere we read, for you, God, have tested us, and you have tried us as silver is tried. Behold, I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tried you in the furnace of affliction. As we know, tests reveal the genuineness of our profession. We've talked about this before. It's easy to say I studied, I did my homework, I graduated from high school or college, but a test is where the rubber meets the road. The test proves the validity of my profession or of my words. It's easy in one respect to profess Christ with people who profess the same thing, who carry Bibles, who talk about the day we decided to follow Jesus and come together in church and we sing and listen and have great time, great fellowship. That's easy. But how can we know our profession is real, is genuine? How can we know we are truly born again? We have a living faith. God wants us to know that our faith is genuine. Well, how does he help us to know that? By testing. Affliction is one of those tests that proves the genuineness of our faith. It purifies our faith. Illness, suffering, persecution, struggles, and so on all seek to not only prove the genuineness of our faith, but to purify it. Affluence is another test. Good health, an easy life, success, riches. How do we respond to those things in our life? That proves the genuineness of our faith as well, because many people in affluence turn away and forget God and walk away from God, proving that their faith indeed was not genuine. But for the most part, God tests us through affliction, because affliction, suffering, and struggles have more of a purifying effect on our faith, and as well as a proving of our faith. Tests reveal the genuineness of faith. It reveals where our faith really lies. Where do we run to when things get tough? What do our actions and attitudes say about who we really trust? We trust God in good times and easy times, and it takes little faith. But when hard times come, when difficult times come, we tend to take matters into our own hands because important issues are at stake. We'll trust God with the simple stuff, but when push comes to shove, when the hard things of life, when jobs and money become an issue, we start to get bitter, complain, angry. The Bible gets put on the shelf. Church attendance becomes sporadic at best, and we say, I've got to do this on my own. God becomes irrelevant, showing, and maybe in many cases, that our faith was not real, was not genuine. Tests prove who we really are inside. Has God really changed our heart? Are we really a new creation? Obviously, none of us are perfect. But how do we handle affliction? Where do we turn? Does it purify us or harden us? Do we resent God for allowing the test? Have we seen in our life and in our faith as we've gone through these trials, a deepening of our faith, a deepening of our love for Christ, the reality that we are changed, that Christ does live in us and the Spirit of God lives in us to empower us to go through these trials to His glory? Do we see growth in our life as Christians? Tests also reveal areas of our lives as Christians that may be indicating there are things that we need to deal with. And God uses these tests to purify us. Sometimes we can think we're very patient or loving people, but when trials come, we really show that we're not. And as Peter says, the proof of the genuineness of our faith is more precious than gold. Paul warned Timothy about laying hands on leaders too quickly, or choosing young believers to be leaders. Well, what would be the danger there? Well, very often it could mean that they haven't been tested. It hasn't become evident how they react under duress or in difficult circumstances and trials, how they deal with difficult people, as well as the test of affluence reveal or show the work of God in their heart, shaping the character. Who do they turn to? Who do they trust in their life? Those things become evident in trials. Even Jesus himself was tested in the desert. He's tested in all points as we are, yet without sin. And one of the great promises that Jesus said to Peter after his profession that he would never deny him was this in Luke 22:31 and 32. Simon, Simon, behold, Satan demanded to have you, that he might sift you like wheat. But I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned again, strengthen your brothers. And Peter did stumble. He denied Jesus 3 times, but his faith did not fail. He got back up. Why? Because it was a genuine faith, number one. And number two, because Jesus was praying that it would not fail. And Jesus' prayers are always answered. If we know Jesus, we do not need to fear the test. Jesus is praying for us that our faith will not fail. And if we are truly born again, our faith will not fail because of Christ. We, like Peter, may fail a test, but we learn and we grow and we draw closer to Christ. But we will endure to the end because of the prayers and the faithfulness of Christ who keeps us. James says, count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet various trials. For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Remember, Job said, but he knows the way that I take. When he has tried me, I shall come out as gold. That was Job, and he certainly knows what it is to be tested. So remember, the crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and God, or the Lord, tests the hearts. May this truth guide us and guard us in the trenches of life, which seek to live our lives for the glory of God and the good of others. May God bless.